Mention of the implementation of PPKM, the Coordinating Ministry for Maritime Affairs and Investment explained that the development of COVID-19 cases in Java and Bali fell by 96%. To that end, the government has made a number of adjustments, including opening cinemas with a capacity of 50% and increasing the number of tourist attractions that are allowed to open. In the midst of positive achievements in handling COVID-19, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment Luhut Binsar Panjaitan regrets that the speed of vaccination, implementation of protection, and health protocols is still lagging behind in various regions. According to him, this is a threat to the next wave of increasing cases of COVID-19. Luhut added that in the next week, the government will make a number of adjustments, including opening cinemas and the addition of opening the number of tourist attractions.
Pengembangan kasus secara nasional terus menunjukkan perbaikan yang sangat signifikan dan capaian yang terus membaik. Hal ini terlihat dari penurunan tren kasus konfirmasi secara nasional hingga 93,9%. Dan secara spesifik di Jawa Bali turun hingga 96% dari titik puncaknya pada 15 Juli yang lalu. Ada beberapa penyesuaian dan juga pengetatan aktivitas masyarakat yang bisa dilakukan dalam periode minggu ini antara lain. Pertama, pembukaan bioskop dengan kapasitas maksimal 50% pada kota level 3 dan level 2. Namun dengan kewajiban menggunakan aplikasi Peduli Lindungi. Saya ulangi, dengan kewajiban menggunakan aplikasi Peduli Lindungi serta protokol kesehatan yang ketat. Hanya kategori hijau lah yang dapat masuk area bioskop. Saya ulangi, hanya
The easing of the PPKM, which began to be carried out in line with the decline in COVID-19 cases, triggered high community mobility in several areas. The Ministry of Health reminded the public not to be euphoric because of the threat of 3 new variants of COVID-19 that might attack Indonesia. Minister of Health Budi Gunadi Sadikin said the 3 new variants of COVID-19 were still being studied for their characteristics and strength in penetrating antibodies. Therefore, he asked all parties to be vigilant and not slack in implementing health protocols. Budi added that the Ministry of Health had strengthened the laboratory network to identify new variants of the COVID-19 virus so that it would not spread in Indonesia. In addition, the acceleration of vaccination in the regions will also be carried out to accelerate the formation of herd immunity.
Ada 3 varian baru yang masuk di dalam pengamatan pemerintah, yang itu varian Lambda atau C37. Ini pertama kali ditemukan di Peru pada bulan Desember 2020 dan sekarang sudah tersebar di 42 negara. Varian yang kedua adalah varian Mu atau B.1621. Pertama kali ditemukan di Kolombia bulan Januari 2021 dan sekarang sudah tersebar di 49 negara. Dan yang paling baru adalah varian C.1.2 yang ditemukan pertama kali di Afrika Selatan bulan Mei 2021 dan sekarang sudah menyebar ke 9 negara. Ketiga varian ini memang sedang dalam penelitian bagaimana perilakunya, laju penularannya, dan apakah mereka bisa menghindar dari antibodi yang terbentuk secara natural maupun vaksinasi. Dan sampai sekarang memang belum ada hasil riset yang pasti, tetapi ketiga-tiga varian ini, baik varian Lambda, varian Mu maupun varian C.1.2 belum ada di Indonesia. Oleh karena itu, pemerintah memutuskan untuk memperkuat seluruh pintu masuk negara.
Meantime, the Supreme Audit Agency or BPK found problems in COVID-19 handling funds worth 2.94 trillion rupiah. The problems were founded in BPK's examination, which was carried out on 27 ministries and institutions, 204 local governments, and 10 state-owned enterprises and other agencies. The Supreme Audit Agency (BPK) found problems in managing the 2.94 trillion budget used for handling COVID-19. The funds are included in the National Economic Recovery Program. Chairman of BPK, Agung Firman Sampurna, said that BPK found the problem from 241 inspection objects related to the COVID-19 handling program and National Economic Recovery. The examination was carried out on 27 ministries and institutions, 204 local governments and 10 state-owned enterprises and other agencies. The results revealed 2,170 findings containing 2,843 problems worth 2.94 trillion rupiah. He said the problems related to funds included 887 weaknesses in the internal control system, 715 non-compliance with statutory provisions, and 1,241 problems related to economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. To overcome this problem, BPK has provided recommendations, among others, for the government to establish a clear and measurable grand design for the COVID-19 handling task force. Then the government is recommended to strengthen the supervision and control of the distribution of funds, as well as process losses that could potentially be experienced by the regional and central governments in accordance with the laws and regulations. IDX Channel reports. And moving on to global update, the U.S. budget deficit rose to $2.71 trillion through August, on track to be the second largest shortfall in history. Meanwhile, North Korea has tested a new long-range cruise missile capable of hitting much of Japan, state media said on Monday. And more stories on today's International Minute. The U.S. budget deficit rose to $2.71 trillion through August, on track to be the second largest shortfall in history due to trillions of dollars in COVID relief. In its monthly budget report, the Treasury Department said Monday that the deficit for the first 11 months of this budget year is 9.9% less than the imbalance during the same period last year. For the entire budget year, which ends September 30, the Congressional Budget Office is forecasting a deficit of $3 trillion, which would be just below the record deficit of $3.13 trillion set last year. The UK government has cancelled an agreement to buy at least 100 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine from the French pharmaceutical startup Valneva, after alleging that the company breached its contract obligations. Valneva shares plummeted Monday on the news from the United Kingdom, the only country that had made a firm commitment to buy the company's vaccine. The stock was down 40% at 12.02 euros in afternoon trading in Europe after falling as low as 11 euros. North Korea has tested a new long-range cruise missile capable of hitting much of Japan, state media said on Monday. The weekend test saw missiles traveling up to 1,500 kilometers or 930 miles, the official KCNA news agency said. It suggests North Korea is still capable of developing weapons despite food shortage and an economic crisis. The U.S. military said the latest test posed threats to the international community, and neighboring Japan said it has significant concerns. The United Arab Emirates is seeking to grow economic ties with Israel to more than $1 trillion over the next decade, Economy Minister Abdullah bin Togh said Monday, strengthening a year-old relationship that's already produced billions of dollars worth of business. The Gulf country has signed over 60 memorandums of understanding with Israel since normalizing relations in 2020 and is expecting an influx of trade in the next 2 years. The UAE was looking at sectors including defense, energy, and food security. IDX Channel reports. Market headlines will be right back with deep inside coverage. Stay tuned.
Awalnya nggak langsung yakin, tapi setelah ikut 2 kali acara edukasi Bursa Efek, akhirnya tertarik juga.
Karena mudah, saya ajarkan ibu-ibu lain, sampai anak saya juga ikutan. Selesai dagang, saya bawa 100.000 untuk nabung saham. Hasilnya jelas sekali.
Yuk kita nabung saham sekarang.
Presiden Joko Widodo memiliki optimisme yang tinggi terkait dengan proses vaksinasi nasional yang sedang dilakukan saat ini. Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat dilakukan untuk bisa meningkatkan pemahaman masyarakat?
Komunikasi publik adalah kunci. Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Inspirasinya dari mana? Bisa yakin gitu untuk kita membentuk Home Care 24.
Karena suatu panggilan jiwa ya, di Indonesia belum ada menggeluti dunia bisnis health tech.
Jangan cuma ngelihat langit, tapi juga ingat bahwa kaki kita tuh masih di tanah gitu. Jangan cuma lihat cuan, tapi ingat masih ada risiko kerugian.
Apa yang bisa pelajari dari rugi? Karena kan pasti ada momen di mana seorang investor itu dia rugi, portofolionya itu merah.
Nomor satu banget yang paling penting disadari oleh pemula yaitu manajemen resiko. Investasi itu bukan untuk memenuhi kebutuhan hidup, harus tetap kerja. Trading untuk membantu kita mencapai tujuan hidup.
Jadi PT Paragon itu kan memang masih sebuah private company gitu.
Tetap ada responsibility, saya setuju tadi.
Mendevelop tim, ya kan, what can I help you, empower gitu kan, gimana supaya proses.
Bank Rakyat Indonesia, Pegadaian and Permodalan Nasional Madani.
Saya mengharapkan penggabungan daripada BRI, Pegadaian, dan juga PNM, di sini saya ada catatannya, bahwa ingin bahwa memastikan bahwa bisa terjadi bagaimana keberpihakan bunga lebih murah untuk yang di bawah. Dan sesuai dengan kesepakatan kita waktu itu, para dirut kalau bisa November ini sudah benar-benar terjadi.
In addition, he also asks that ultra micro holdings could achieve President Jokowi's directive, namely the portion of credit or financing for MSMEs to reach 30% of the total bank loan portfolio in Indonesia by 2024. On the other hand, according to him, the provision of cheap and broad credit to MSMEs is very necessary because these business actors are affected by the economic crisis due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Furthermore, he ensures that this request is not merely a policy that has political intentions. IDX Channel reports. The Indonesian Ultra Micro Holding led by Bank Rakyat Indonesia was officially formed. The President Director of Bank BRI, Sunarso, stated that Ultra Micro Holding will produce micro empowerment institution, including the largest Ultra Micro, which has the most complete financial ecosystem. The Ultra Micro Holding, which involves 3 state-owned enterprises, namely Bank Rakyat Indonesia, Pegadaian and Permodalan Nasional Madani, was officially formed. This is often done by signing the deed of in-brank of government shares in Pegadaian and PNM as state capital participation to BRI as the holding company in Jakarta on September 30, 2021. This historic milestone for MSMEs does not change the portion of government ownership of controlling shares in BRI. On the other hand, after the holding is formed, the state still has one red and white Series A share or a golden share in Pegadaian and PNM. Minister of State-Owned Enterprises Erick Thohir said Ultra Micro Holding would provide various conveniences and lower cost of borrowing funds with a wider reach, deepening of services, and sustainable community empowerment. Erick emphasized that the presence of the holding would strengthen the business model of each company. According to him, BRI, Pegadaian and PNM will complement each other in providing integrated financial services for the sustainability of ultra-micro business empowerment. On the same occasion, the President Director of Bank BRI, Sunarso, said that ultra-micro holding will produce micro-empowerment institutions, including the largest ultra-micro, which has the most complete financial ecosystem. The ultra-micro ecosystem built on the synergy of the BRI, Pegadaian and PNM business models will be able to provide an integrated financial service journey for business actors in this segment. IDX Channel reports. The ultra-micro business sector has relatively complex challenges, from lack of access to formal financial services, the high cost of borrowing, to low financial inclusion and financial literacy. Therefore, ultra-micro holding is predicted to be able to encourage the community's ultra-micro businesses to rise.
Ultra-micro holding is predicted to be able to encourage the community's ultra-micro businesses to rise through financing schemes. Basically, many ultra-micro businesses run out of formal loans with minimal security. Expert staff for Finance and MSME Development, Ministry of SOEs, Loto Ginting, say that according to her data, there were around 45 million in 2018. 15 million business actors have been served by the formal sector. Meanwhile, 7 million other business actors borrow from relatives and another 5 million to money lenders, so that the rest have not been served by around 18 million business actors. She considered that the ultra-micro business sector has relatively complex challenges. At least, she detailed 5 main challenges faced by ultra-micro business actors. First, lack of access to formal financial services such as loans. Second, the cost of borrowing is quite high, such as the interest cost charged to the public. Third, limited distribution network. Fourth, low financial inclusion and financial literacy. Fifth, it takes a long time to upgrade because their products still need to be improved in quality and their production capacity has limited access to funds. The 5 challenges, according to Loto, have made the ultra-micro business actors increasingly limited in developing their business to advance to class. IDX Channel reports.
Meanwhile, economic and banking observer Rian Kirianto say that the presence of ultra-micro holding will create a more competitive financing ecosystem. Especially business actors in the ultra-micro segment need massive support from large and formal financial service industry players.
The presence of ultra-micro holding is believed by banking observer Rian Kirianto will create a more competitive financing ecosystem. He said that business actors in the ultra-micro segment currently need massive support from large and formal financial services industry players to be able to survive during the pandemic. On the other hand, BRI, Pegadaian, and PNM as state-owned companies known to focus on empowering small business communities need new sources of growth. Thus, the holding creates a mutually beneficial ecosystem. In addition, the holding will also provide cheaper financing support for ultra-micro and MSME business actors. He hopes that ultra-micro businesses will upgrade to micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. The increase in business will be stronger if there is a strong and supportive ecosystem. The wider funding and business integration of the 3 companies also makes the mentoring process for business actors better. On the other hand, Rian believes that the presence of holding also encourages non-holding financial service actors to be more aggressive and competitive in providing services to ultra-micro and MSME business actors in the future. IDX Channel reports.
Stay with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Sebanyak 7 bank telah menyetujui restrukturisasi kredit PT Waskita Karya Persero Tbk dengan outstanding sebesar 21,9 triliun rupiah.
Pemirsa, Bursa Efek Indonesia mencatat saat ini terdapat 12 emiten yang berencana melakukan buyback saham.
Pertimbangan dengan 4 rekomendasi saham ini, Pak Rofandi, mungkin untuk Akra terlebih dahulu, Pak.
2 hari ini mungkin dia akan berkonsolidasi dan akan terjadi rebound.
Ingin menjalani kehidupan yang mapan dan masa depan yang sejahtera? Sikapi uang dengan bijak. Mulailah berinvestasi di pasar modal. Dengan membeli saham melalui Bursa Efek maupun perusahaan sekuritas, Anda dapat menikmati hasil keuntungan dari perusahaan-perusahaan besar yang tersedia. Pastikan Anda berinvestasi di perusahaan yang memiliki izin resmi. Cerdas mengelola, masa depan sejahtera. Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, lembaga pengawas industri jasa keuangan yang terpercaya.
Satgas COVID-19 tetap mengingatkan agar masyarakat tetap disiplin dalam menegakkan protokol kesehatan.
Pemerintah akan melakukan upaya terbaik untuk memvaksinasi sebanyak mungkin orang dan secepat mungkin.
Kementerian Perdagangan optimistis target pemerintah untuk membuat 30 juta UMKM go digital bisa tercapai di akhir tahun 2023. Wisata Bali dan Labuan Bajo hingga saat ini masih menjadi favorit.
Welcome back. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,110.185. And then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,117.4. And then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,129.10. In short, JCI went up 0.67%. And next we're going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got energy as the leader of strengthening trend that went up 2.16%. Infrastructure went up 2.09%. Technology went up 1.96%, and basic as the leader of weakening trend that went down 0.1%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. Telkom went up 2.69% to the level of 3,440 rupiah per share. Pigas went up 5.71% to the level of 1,110 rupiah. Arto went up 0.17% to the level of 14,950 rupiah. And Axel went up 8.86% to the level of 2,950 rupiah. Meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got Aneka Tambang went down 1.98% to the level of 2,470 rupiah per share. Bank Central Asia went down 0.15% to the level of 32,725 rupiah. BBYB went down 3.83% to the level of 1,505 rupiah per share. And Kios went down 2.2% to the level of 1,110 rupiah per share. And next we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,260. Rupiah showing weakening trend towards US dollar, and was closed at the level of 14,220 rupiah per US dollar. In summary, rupiah went down 0.04%. Bank Rakyat Indonesia or BBRI held a corporate rights issue with a target fund of nearly 96 trillion rupiah, which 70% of the fund for working capital for ultra micro businesses.
Bank Rakyat Indonesia or BBRI held a corporate rights issue with a target fund of nearly 96 trillion rupiah, of which up to 70% was for working capital for ultra micro businesses. BRI management say that 54.7 trillion of the proceeds from the rights issue would be used for BRI's participation in Pegadaian and Permodalan Nasional Madani. The maximum cash received of 41 trillion rupiah will be allocated for working capital, 60 up to 70% ecosystem development for working capital for micro and small businesses. As is known, BBRI will form an ultra-micro ecosystem through merging with PNM and Pegadaian. Ultra-Micro Holding as a forum for micro-entrepreneurs to advance in a structured and systematic way. This strategy is in line with BRI's vision and mission to become the most valuable bank group in Southeast Asia. BRI's value is to provide sustainable growth that ensure the company gets new sources of growth. IDX Channel reports.
Sarana Meditama Metropolitan reported that the company had purchased 167.34 million shares of Kedoya Adiaraya, or equivalent to 287.82 billion rupiah.
Sarana Meditama Metropolitan reported that the company had purchased 167.34 million shares of Kedoya Adiaraya a day after the manager of the Graha Kedoya Hospital made an initial listing on the Indonesia Stock Exchange. Based on the Omni Hospital's letter submitted to the Financial Services Authority on September 13, 2021, the company has made a purchase transaction for RSGK shares on September 9, 2021. The day before, RSGK made an initial listing on the IDX with the same ownership of 0.49%. In the letter, the company said that Omni Hospitals bought 167.34 million shares of Graha Kedoya Hospital, equivalent to 18% ownership in RSGK. The purchase price is set at 1,720 rupiah per share, so that the capital spent by SAME to buy RSGK shares reached 287.82 billion rupiah. With the transaction based on a letter signed by the President Director of SAME, Yusuf Halimi, the company's current ownership in RSGK is 18.49%, with direct ownership status for long-term investment. IDX Channel reports.
Step aside from market condition as the efforts in achieving herd immunity is still going on. Here it is an update data about COVID-19 vaccinations in Indonesia. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. And viewers, we can get through this pandemic by staying disciplined on health protocols. Everyone must wear a mask because it can protect us from COVID-19. Use masks properly and encourage family and people around us to do the same. And I'm Fajar Wayong. Have a nice evening and stay safe.